episode 32. We have no new players today, so we're gonna go right into playing the game. So we're gonna take care of everyone's background. Then we're gonna cut to our gravy adventures, and then we're gonna do some role playing and go back to um, this town here, the uptown, top side, top side. All right. So Josh, you were working on Gathol
I
defenses.
I
Those.
played last time,
Oh yeah, you played last time.
so there hasn't been a down.
But you have played, like, you did that beforehand. So
Oh,
all the things have been updated. We're gonna be using those today. Spoiler alert. Okay. Keegan, what have you been working on here? Religious vigil. Tell us a little bit about your vigil and what you've experienced during this time.
So Ander has seen things that he finds morally questionable in the name of his god, and he has pretty much isolated himself from everyone else in Gathol for X amount of time. Like, he has been questioning his faith. He's been wondering why his god would allow him to do something he finds abhorrent. He has recently come to the conclusion that he is taking it as a test of his faith and is trying to maintain that sort of conviction he has, but deep down he knows it's faltering.
All right. Interesting. All right. Zalzu, you have applied guns to the original Warforge.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been weaponized.
All right.
Great job. Yep.
Excited about that. Real guns?
It's sometimes the connection between what we're doing here and Mega Man gets real thin. Like, it just gets so thin. All right, cool. DJ, you played last time, so none of your stuff applies. Like, basically, it's like, since it's back to back, it doesn't do anything. All right, but Dan, so I know we're always having a good time with you. You don't need to hold it up in. This is like, we're so ridiculous.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
you hold it up in front of your face. That's how the
It
microphone
has
works.
that jacket is a stand. You could just put that stand and make sure it aims towards you. But anyway, so you've been you've been chatting with you've been trying to get a hold of Bernard. So let's take a little zoom in and see what that looks like. So I want you to tell us your thoughts. Maybe have an external monologue about what you're saying to yourself to hype yourself up to go talk to Bernard and try to get your sword back, your great magical sword.
All right. So, hey, I actually forgot something. I was really hoping to talk to you again. No. That tea was really good last time. I'd forgot something back in town, and I just wanted to come back and maybe have a little more, and then I can find a way to bring up the sword thing.
The angel that you're talking to,
still gonna have it?
the angel that you're talking to says, I don't know, doesn't sound very convincing. You might want to try again, but like with some emphasis, you know.
Okay. Hey, I was just walking by your place again, and I remembered that the last time I was here, I left a piece of my property, and I was just hoping maybe to get it back, like as an act of good faith.
Way better.
Yeah, that'll work. And like, it's faith and stuff, so you guys are like into that shit or whatever.
She's like, okay, do you want me to help you? Do you want me to go with you again, or you got this one?
Yeah, come with me.
All right. So you guys are at Bernard's door. You hear him rustling around in there, doing demon stuff.
So there's like weird, like spirity sounds and shit.
No, she's just writing a book. It seems demony enough.
All right. I peer through a window, like that's next to the door.
Yep.
And my hand is like ready to knock in case they notice me, so that it's like my way of making it less creepy, even though it's not less creepy. So,
He looks up and he says, "Ah, Gravy, come on in."
hey, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
The angel says, "You got this," and pushes you in.
Hey, I'm a little parched. Do you have tea? That wasn't the one I was gonna use.
He like like a tea kettle and a teapot just like erupts from fire on his table, and he says, "Go ahead, drink."
All right. I immediately get nervous again. I remember the last time I was here, my knee was kind of going. My little tiny nub dwarf knee. So I drink some tea, and I'm looking around. Do I see my sword anywhere?
Yeah. It's like he's like mounted it above his fireplace, like it's like a stag or something that he like took down.
Oh, good. You still have it.
Yes, you gave it to me. It was such a generous gift.
I think that was a misunderstanding.
Oh, it was a misunderstanding that you were giving it to me a gift? In that case, you must have been attacking me. And you see his eyes sort of go red.
No. It was an accident. And I got scared because you're a demon and are really powerful. So as soon as it like stabbed you, I thought that you would think the worst, and I got frightened and ran away.
He nods and he says, "Well, I mean, it's my property now, but if you'd like it back, I'm certain we could make some sort of deal."
I don't know. I think that you're just using this as leverage. I think it would be better if maybe you just gave it back to me as an act of good faith, so that it would establish some type of trust between us.
Well, do you think that sort of faith might get me re-entry into Gathol? I'd love to live there.
Oh, that's above my pay grade. I could put in a good word for you.
I'm gonna need a little bit more than that.
Like 2 good words? I could make a whole sentence.
I seriously doubt that you could form a sentence, Gravy.
Gravy takes a long sip of this tea. How is it?
It's good.
Yeah. All right. Let me. Okay, so it sounds like you want to get back into Gathol, and I'd like a sword back.
Yes, it's an even exchange.
How do you think I could help you get back into Gathol?
Well, you could convince them to just let me have one of the houses in Outer Gathol. I won't cause any trouble. I'll just live there. I'm so far away. If I ever have to go there, if anything happens to me, it would be, half a day before I got there.
What are you concerned about happening, and what's your interest in Gathol?
Well, it's living among people.
Why do you want to live among people? You're not a person.
Well, I mean, people need things, and I can get things, so it allows me to commerce. And he, like, does quotation marks when he says commerce.
So if you were to bargain with me and make a really good bargain with me that didn't have, say, strings or negative side effects, then that would build a reputation for you so that you could make more advantageous deals in the future with other people.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to give me entry to Gathol and you just want to offer me something else, that's certainly something I'm admittable to.
Well, what about? I mean, I'd be happy to advertise whatever kind of deal you make with me right now, and however good it is, the better it is. The more people might be interested in working with you in the future. Think of it as like an advertisement.
Give me a persuasion check.
Remember how to. Fuck.
Top left-hand corner is a dice.
Yeah, like doesn't look like that on my screen. Everything's wrong.
You just go to your character sheet, and on the left, there's like a column. You click persuasion.
Simply persuade Jason that you've already rolled a natural 20 in persuasion.
This doesn't work.
Dan,
Then-
there's a dice. There you Okay.
Hey,
He sort of says like, I think we're gonna need to make a deal right now.
yikes.
I don't work on exposure.
I take out my great axe and I hit him with it and run away.
All right. So we just cut to like the great axe and then an image of you and the angel running away again. Awesome. Just great. All right. So if you all look in the journal tab at the top right and then go all the way to the bottom to things you may want to know about Gathol, I've updated the statistics here and some of the other stuff around Gathol and a few of the big NPCs that we've named. So I've got a list of sort of things that are happening to Gathol, you know, sort of in general, and we're just going to cut back and forth sort of in the timeline here and have you guys deal with them. And these are going to be the things that you can use, that you have at your disposal to sort of solve these issues or crises or, you know, whatever's going on.
Wait,
So-
which tab was that under?
It's under the
hand-
journal tab. It's like basically the same one with all the character sheets, but you
Yep.
just got to scroll all the way to the bottom to handouts. And it's the very last option in there called things you may want to know.
Oh,
about
there we
Gathol.
go. Got it.
All right, so I'd like everyone to roll a d20, and that will help me determine the order and which problem your character has to solve. All right, Ander, we're gonna do you first. Ander, so one of the things that since Keen has died, since basically you guys have established sort of a council of the adventurers, right? And basically when there's a crisis or something big happening, it's basically like whichever of the adventurers they can gather that aren't out on a mission or doing something else, and they sort of do this. And basically for each of you, this is going to be a time when basically you were the only one on duty and kind of had to make a decision. So a couple of weeks back, a group of you guys had gone to the Shifter Tower. They basically established an outpost. And let me actually bring you guys over to the map so we can have a good visual there. All right, so the Shifter Tower is down here right near Sparrow's Crest. And so a little while back, some people, they had found some giant vampire bats living at the top of that place. They killed them. However, typically when something big like that at the top of the food chain is sort of done away with, other things could happen to the area. So a very invasive, like small mammal has sort of moved into the area and is starting to just tear it up. What would Ander like to do about this? What would he like to? What commands would he like to issue?
Let's see. mean, this is kind of a stretch, Jason, but feel free to veto. I'm noticing under the statistics for Gathol, there is a section for arcane knowledge.
Yep.
Theoretically, I have the
I didn't use them either. It's not that I forgot you.
I have the ritual caster feat. I have the Book of Ancient Secrets from being a warlock. Could I theoretically attempt to teach some of the shifters the alarm spell, so that way they're at least forewarned when these things are getting closer and can theoretically respond appropriately?
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's certainly something that's possible. You could teach them the alarm spell. I mean that sort of decision would not necessarily solve the problem, only give them a warning, right? So if that's what you want to do, that I would say that's sort of a low level answer to the problem, but not like a complete resolution. So if that's as much as you'd like to address it, that
yeah, I think that's as much as I'd like to address it, especially with Anders' mind being preoccupied on other things.
Very well. All right, cool. Moving on to next person is Cell. So, Cell, while you're there, they come and they ask you this. So, in a dwarven society, a smith is a highly regarded position of authority, right? You know, there's a lot of like they're basically like a queen, in that way. Their daughter, Coiden, is sort of a reoccurring character. They're a thief, they're a rapscallion, they're always trying to get into trouble and do all these things. They have gone missing recently, and while they do get into trouble a lot, they typically don't go missing for this amount of time. So what would you like to do? You get this news, you're sort of in charge of making a decision about what's going to happen.
Yeah, so I mean, Cell's kind of not a tracker, but definitely like someone that could probably find someone.
Mhm.
So I would say Cell probably like. Is there militia or anyone that I could like have come with me or anything like that?
Yeah, so these are basically decisions that you can't take on yourself. You have to issue
Okay,
orders
I
to
have
other
to
people.
issue people.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and there's definitely militia. So you could say like, just as an example, like if you look at the military defenses, you could say like,
Right.
I'd like to send a good number of military defenses to go find her. That may yield, a lot of deaths, but it may also yield, good stuff. Like, sort of this is like a push and pull sort of narrative, like thing like that.
Sure. The Cell, like, do I have like any idea? Like, did they tell me anything? Like, any clues or anything like that that I'd be able to determine anything off of, or is that kind of?
Why don't you go ahead and give me a survival check?
Sure.
All right. So what you would know is that I'll say if you trying to think. So if you like sort of judging by the directions that she went in and the people the information that you got, you can determine that if you send out the group of adventurers, the full group, they'll be able to bring her back safely. However, the other people won't be able to use them. So like when Gravy and Coil and Zalzu get this question, they'll be preoccupied. Like they won't have access to this resource.
I mean, how many can I send? Like, what's the least amount I can send and have them be safe? Does it have to be all of them?
Yeah, it would have to be all of them. If you send 3 of them, they will bring her back, but it will be a risk. So.
And how many adventures do I have? Can I see that?
There are 4.
4.
It says NPC adventurers.
Is a risk. Okay. And this is like royalty, right? Like pretty important.
Yep, she's basically a princess. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the command for all the adventurers to go and try to get the princess back. I gotta bring Princess Peach back. That's the goal.
All right, awesome, cool. And we will do Coil next. Coil, Emrys, who you know, as you would remember as Arethi's sort of adopted father. This guy is the Indiana Jones of dwarves. You know, there are slight references to a character from World of Warcraft. However, that is, you know, it's definitely legally different than that. You know what I mean? He says he wants to go spelunking in this cave here. There's a cave over here. You know, you remember the one with the snakes and that.
Yeah.
He wants to kind of go dig into that a lot deeper than you had explored. He thinks that with the information that you gathered about the God's Blood gems, he wants to kind of dig into that a little bit more. You can say no. You can send him with other people, like whatever you'd like to do.
But so 4 of the adventurers just went out though?
Yeah, you don't have access to any of the NPC adventurers. You still have access to the skeletons if you want, or anything else.
Send the band.
I don't know what this bloodstone stuff is.
Yeah, so a little while ago when you guys were adventuring, you found like these statues, and right near them there were these like stones and like foliage was going around them. And then one of the party members had discovered there a gem called God's Blood, which basically, like, whenever a god is wounded, those things happen, and they have sort of this sort of magical properties in some way, but using them is like using the blood of a god. So it's sort of like, you know, there are connotations there that might be sort of cursed, you know.
I'm gonna tell Emrys, I say, I do not think it is prudent for you to proceed without a full party of Gathol's explorers.
Says, well, I mean, I've been known to go on a few adventures myself in my day. I mean, if you give me a couple of guards, I'm sure we'll be fine.
Give you a couple of guards? They are their own people.
Right. Sorry, I keep forgetting I'm talking to a robot. It was a manner of speaking, you see. It was just, you know, let them come with me.
I see. Perhaps I do not think it is prudent.
All right. Well, we put the adventurers in charge, and you know, so I'll respect your decision.
It was an evil temple.
So you'll have to forgive my curiosity. And he leaves. All right, who we got next here? Gravy. All right, Gravy.
Yeah.
So a little while back, an orc settlement posted up just outside this area. You guys are in good terms with them. They lived right outside Gathol during the Kobold raid and helped. And then after that, they went back to their sort of plains, their sort of nomadic things. A representative of them, who he says Oog sent him, which you know as the leader of the orcs. He says to you that they noticed that there are, from this hole here, there are monsters that have been coming out of the tunnel and roaming the land. They've been able to deal with them for the most part. However, there seems to be some sort of mother of monsters down there, and they're being overwhelmed. He fears that they can only hold them off for so long before they discover, Gathol and the other areas.
Is there something specific he's asking from me to deal with it? Is there a specific resource he's looking for?
He says help would be great, but if you don't want to offer help, at least you know.
Okay. Do I trust him?
Yeah, I mean, the story seems to add up if you want to roll, like, empathy or whatever.
All right. No, I won't. I won't roll.
Don't cover your mouth. There you go, bud.
All right. So let's see. Where are my resources that I have at my disposal, and what would be good for this particular situation? All right. So what if we
I'm
give
sorry.
them?
I
some...
forgot to add that Sparrow's Crest has defenses as well, because Josh has been working on that, so they're actually at 13%. Sorry about that. There you go.
Okay. I can send. What if I offer some defenses and also some of the supplies we're getting from the lumberyard to build up defenses around that area?
Yeah, sure. So how much defenses do you want to send?
Let's see. We have 47% here. I'm just looking at the map. What if I send 2 of the 5 supplies from the lumberyard and 10% of the city defenses?
All right. All right. He thanks you. You're sending a lot of people with him, so they go and they're all equipped and they go off, and you will find out about that later.
Oh, hey, just real quick. Do you have an extra great axe?
You'll have to buy it. They need to be made.
Well, hey, have a great day. It's really awesome for me to help you and the city and stuff. And I'm covering my mouth again. All right, so yeah, cool.
All right, cool. So Ander, you are the last one.
What about me?
Oh, sorry. Wait, no, I already did Ander. Sorry, Zalzu, you're the last one. Zalzu,
Yay. Yes.
you go to sleep one night, and you wake up. Give me 1 second. All right, so you wake up and you are no longer in Gathol. Like you went to sleep, you were in your bed, you're normal. You wake up and you're in this church right here. I don't know if you
where I defiled that god.
yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So you have been there. Were you were there when you guys fought the 2 dragons or whatever?
Yeah,
right?
I badmouth. I forget who I badmouth.
Oh.
Laurel.
Carl Glittergold.
Yeah.
I love his bar.
Yeah.
Tell you that much.
Yeah,
I
you
do not
sure
enjoy
do.
the man himself.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
So you find yourself here, and here there are 3 god statues displayed before you. The first is Pelor. He's sort of the god of sun and purity and sort of growth in that way. And
Sure.
if you'd like me to dig in here too, I can as well. There is
And as Pelor ended human and sentient suffering across the worlds with his godly power.
More
Has he
humans
done
more
it?
humans worship him than any other deity. He's also like,
And yet, is there suffering in the world?
yeah, I guess there still is
Well,
suffering.
then what good is Pelor? Thanks a lot, Pelor.
All right, fair enough. All right, the other god is Selune, who is the god of moons and nighttime.
And does Selune protect and help all those who sleep under the moon and have no house of their own? Does Selune use her godly powers to help the unhoused?
Well, she's chaotic good, so that that means something.
And with all her powers, are there still evils in the world?
There are.
Well, then what the fuck use is Selune? Thanks a lot, Selune, for nothing.
All right, and I will bring up that Selune is one of the gods that sort of you've heard and seen around. Like there are temples to her, there are worshippers.
Yeah, sure. And she
in
demands
Gathol.
worshippers for nothing in turn. Great.
Fair enough.
Sufi is a cleric of Selune.
Yeah. All right, and the last one, the third one, is Cord, who's a chaotic good god of athletes, sports, and like physical competition in that way, combat,
Beer.
All right. Would you like me and would you like me to elaborate on any of these gods or anything?
The last one.
Because
what is the what do they use their godly powers for, and not just soaking up worship and fighting with each other?
I mean
Beer.
that's basically it.
That's basically it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I'm
right.
not impressed by any
So-
of these gods. I mean, I'm sure they could all smote me. or
Right. Well,
whatnot.
these are just effigies of the gods, right? They're just statues.
Right.
And then on a table in front of you is a journal with three gems, three like little gemstones in front of them, different colors. There's one that's red, there's one that's blue, and there's one that's green. The journal reads, "The red one will harm a god, the blue one will help a god, and the green one will preserve as is."
And this was put here by a god.
You have no idea who it was put here
I
by.
said, "Fuck off! Don't make me choose your gems. You want to do something to one of the other people? Do it. Don't puppet me around. Put me back in my bed or kill me." Salzu was very defiant. Well, I gotta choose to leave things as they are. I mean, if I have to choose to leave, I choose that one.
You can't you turn around to leave and the doors like close and lock, like you know that sort of thing.
Ooh, okay, green. I choose green.
No. You have to assign one to each god.
Oh, I have to assign one to each god.
Yeah.
What harm what and stay the
Harm,
same?
aid, and then just neutral.
Most humans worship Palor.
Paylor. Yep.
Just pretend it's like one of those riddles where you run into three of the farmer's daughters.
Yeah.
And you have to like decide what to do with each one.
Okay, hold on. So wait, what's blue again? Harm, help, just harm, help, and remain the same.
Harm, help, and remain the same. Yep.
And tell me about the last god again?
So Cord is the god of athletes and sport and combat. So,
But not drinking.
not
Chad.
drinking.
Not
He's
Cord.
a Chad.
He's
Chad god. Okay,
Yeah.
fuck Chad. And Salune's moon and Palor's sun.
Yep.
And Salune, I've like I might have I played with Susie? Did I play with Susie once?
You like
So I might be
Sulune's
more-
the only one that like you've seen temples of and people have worshipped. Like
Have I interacted with any of their followers?
Yeah, you played with Susie last week.
Okay, and Salune was fun. Yeah, so like probably I guess I've met some dick humans that probably worship Palor and were like full of themselves. So harm Palor, help Salune.
all right.
But I write in the journal bullshit. Zalzu.
All right, I'm just going to type some things totally unrelated over here.
Real big move, gods, trapping me here and making me choose choices to leave.
I'm sure it won't
Despicable,
really affect the
despicable with
story.
all your power. This is what you're getting up to. A shame. You should all be ashamed.
All right. You wake up in your bed. The gods think about pulling an evil prank on you, but they don't.
They should think about what they've done.
Yeah.
That's what they should think about.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So the last decision we're gonna make is as a group. So you all are gonna be in this one. So in the ocean area over here, there are some hags. That's what they do is they're sort of like a mafia. People pay them tribute, and then they give those people obfuscation from the god war that's happening. So you've been there before. You've met a couple of these hags, but they send an emissary to Gathol. Basically, they finally found out where you guys are from, and they send basically an elf that seems much more fair. Like her connection to the Feywild is much stronger. Like she's not from Earth; she's from the original Feywild. And then there are also 3 brownies with her, which are basically like little goblin Fey creatures. and they have basically come and they say, now we have found you. We are here to extend the offer as the island nations are obfuscated. If you would like to come into our protection, you may choose to at this time. If not, I will leave.
Who are, I don't get who they're talking to. All of us?
Yeah, basically all of you, or like they send a messenger. You guys could be in the courtroom and you've met with them. Sort of like in an official capacity. You know what I mean? Like they come in, they bow, they sort of present themselves as a messenger.
Yeah, so this is an elf from the Fae. Would Cell know anything about Fae elves or anything like that?
So most elves aren't from there anymore. Like they
Right.
like that's their ancestry, that's their origin. But most of them have lived on Earth or the material plane for much longer, so they don't have that sort of deep connection. They get their Fae ancestry. They can't be charmed and things like that, and it's still in their blood. But they, it's not like Lord of the Rings. In this one, elves only live a few hundred years. They're not eternal. So,
right. Okay.
I say, well, how about you let your brownies go of their own accord, leave alone as a show of good faith to these the beginning of these negotiations.
She bows and she says, "Is that what everyone thinks?"
I look around for what other people think, and then I go with whatever the majority is.
Would you perhaps be so kind as to allow us a moment to deliberate your offer?
Yes, of course. And she
Look,
steps up.
Look, to hell with her offer, but we could at least free 3 slaves by tricking her.
What does deliberate mean?
Talk amongst ourselves and decide what we want to do.
Right.
I don't know. I don't feel particularly good about associating with the hags out there, even at arm's length.
Yeah.
It seems to me, after our various excursions, that the hags do provide a service that some among the islands desire. We, however, have no need of their services.
That's right.
If what they're offering on top of that is protection from the gods, I can only imagine that's going to...
Yeah, how could they...
The divine.
Well, nothing's really happened. I mean, what are we worried about? I mean, aside from...
Yeah, the note taker's like, yeah, you guys haven't dealt with any god stuff before, right?
I mean, the Earth looks a little different on the outside, and, occasionally angels fall from the sky.
I think would notably qualify as god stuff.
Well, I suspect it is decided then. We do not wish to engage in their services.
I think that is the smart decision.
Yeah, but can we tell them to free the brownies and we'll think about it and then not really think about it?
Yeah, so she comes back in. Or Cell, did you want to add anything into that? Or?
Cell kind of abstains. Doesn't really know much about any of this happening right now. So
okay,
just kind of agrees with the group majority. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're looking at the world map, out here, Cell.
Yeah.
There's all these islands. Each of these little maps is an island, and it's the people inhabiting the islands for the most part are kind of doing sketchy things. So they're paying the hags to prevent the gods. The hags have some sort of magic that prevents the gods from looking at what they're doing. So the people on the islands are paying the hags to prevent the gods from viewing what they're doing. And I don't know, it was sort of, we were thinking about, I feel like in the past we were thinking of, as we were exploring the islands, we were like, oh, we're gonna have to kill the hags. But then after a while we were just like, well, it seems like a lot of the people on the islands don't want the gods to see them.
Yeah, because it's like a necromancer is making bodies, and then one of the islands is like a whole group of beholders that are just doing stuff. And then if you don't pay them, they turn you into humans, which are basically like flesh suits that just go insane.
So
yeah,
we're just sort of like, nah. I mean,
yeah,
I don't
okay, that's so, yeah. Cell just agrees with the group, like yeah, doesn't sound like that's what we want to be involved in.
But there was a little bit. It was a little bit more menacing than simply a service, right, Jay? Like, there was one island that they were more clearly extorting.
Yeah, so basically they extort the richer ones more, and then they like ask for things, and they can ask like individual people. Basically, like the first part of your adventures there, you were determining whether or not their protection was legit, because it's like, offering protection is like a very like, okay, but who are you really protecting us from? Like
Right,
yourself, right? Like these guys read like a mob.
Yeah, like you need insurance, right? Like
exactly,
okay.
exactly. And then the group determined that there was actually something that they were doing. But
Okay.
yeah, it is pretty like nefarious in that way, because they could walk up to any person and be like, "Pay me your shoes, or I'll turn you into a skin suit," and then that happened.
Yeah, okay.
Buy at $1.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So so they come back in and you deliver them the news. Matt, can you give me a persuasion check for me to see how many of the brownies you can keep? All right. So the elf is like, "Yep, you may keep all 3 brownies." And then one of the brownies, like the 2 brownies, like sort of come over to your side. They're like, "Yes," and the elf is like, "Yes, they will be your slaves instead of our slaves." And then one of the brownies sort of winks at you, Matt, and then he's like in his little like voice, and he's like, "No, I'll go back."
Oh, okay. He's gonna infiltrate for me, and what's this wink?
You can roll an empathy if and anyone can roll an empathy if you'd like to decipher what this wink is.
What's an
Insight.
empathy? Do you mean insight?
Oh, insight. Yeah, insight. Sorry, empathy is. You're unsure. I mean, he gave you a wink, and he says he wants to go to the elf. If you want to push harder and make him stay, you certainly may.
I say, are you sure about that? I worry for your safety.
He says, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I like my comrades there.
I say, very well, comrade. I'm glad I'm fomenting rebellion in the brownie community.
Yeah. There has been a hint dropped already that you have infiltrated them. Cool. All right.
Right.
Awesome.
Well,
so
I immediately free the brownies, obviously, once she leaves.
Yeah. Do the brownies are just gonna live in Gathol now?
Great.
So, what are the 2 names of the new brownies you have?
Umber and what's in it? Mahogany.
All right.
Because they're
2 new
brown.
umbers. The 2 new umbers you have.
They're brown. Wow. All right.
Perfect.
So
that wasn't like their real names, and then you just started calling them that.
Yeah.
You guys are brownies, right?
All right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll go off to the post-apocalyptic cog machine world.